Hey everybody, thanks again for going with us on this coast to coast journey. Uh, it's July 4th, and so happy 4th of July. Thought it'd be a good idea for me to just pay homage to the United States Colored Troops of the 9th and 10th Cavalry, known as the Buffalo Soldiers, even though they didn't operate in this part of the country where we were. Um, I figured I'm as close to it as I'm going to get, so thank you, United States Colored Troops, Buffalo Soldiers. So we are leaving Newton, Kansas, headed to Pueblo, Colorado. And Newton, Kansas is claim to fame. It's got the oldest Mennonite college in America. It's called Bethel College. Um, it's a hub for the Santa Fe Railroad, and it got its name in a particular way from the railroad executives who built the first rail service that went through Newton were from Newton, Massachusetts. So Newton is a city that gets its name from another city. As you leave, you start to see, and you can see to the right, the windmills. And Kansas has a lot of wind, so that's a no-brainer. And I was thinking, okay, we got a couple of windmills, windmill farm, um, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, and then on the left-hand side, you kind of see some coming to the distance. Well, let me tell you, Kansas probably has 500 windmills. They just kept coming, and the cloud deck, which is like right up against the horizon, makes it hard for you to see them. If it was blue skies, you could see just how many windmills there are, just row upon row, bank upon bank of windmills, which I can't blame them. They certainly have a lot of wind. We were getting wind from right to left the entire time we were on 50 going through Kansas. And I don't mean a little bit of wind, strong wind. Sometimes you had to lean into it. So, but that's okay because we had did a little bit of homework and we knew that certain parts of the, plain states would be windy. So, even though we weren't prepared for the road conditions here, looks like tractor trailers kind of came out of the dirt and dragged some of it with them. But you just gotta keep your head on the swivel so you'll be prepared for whatever comes. So we're rolling through Kansas, and we did make a stop in Dodge City, Kansas. Now, I'm not sure what I expected. Well, I guess I do know what I expected. I expected the Old West. But Dodge City is very much a modern city, modern town. There's a quote unquote Old West part of it. You can see the directional sign right here on the right. And we went over. There's not a lot to it. There's a museum, and there's a section that you have to pay to walk through, like a Old West town. We didn't partake in that, but we did kind of meander through the free exhibits. This old girl, 1139, is credited with serving more than 1,000,000 miles on the rails, and it served right in Dodge City and in the surrounding areas. The one thing that we did see in Kansas, along with the windmills, was grain elevators. Every town has a grain elevator. I don't care how small it is. Um, there's a grain elevator there, and maybe that's all that's there. It kind of lends credence to the idea that the plain states, here in the Midwest or the West, is the breadbasket of America, and the farmers, need a place to bring their grain and have it weighed before it goes to market. This is one of the largest grain elevators I think I've ever seen coming through Texas. Kansas. Here's another one. And in case you don't know what they are, because I did a little homework, I knew what a grain elevator was, but I didn't know how they worked. So basically, Farmer Brown brings his grain from the field in a semi-truck tractor trailer. It shows up at the grain elevator, gets dumped into a pit. The truck gets weighed, it gets dumped into a pit, and then there is a elevator mechanism that takes the grain up to the top of the grain elevator, and then it is moved along a conveyor belt to whichever silo the grain operators want it to go. And I think it's based on quality of grain and whatnot, because it stays there until it's ready to be sold. And of course, it gets the price according to the quality of grain it is. And then it's moved either by tractor trailer. You can have trucks that are specifically set up to haul grain and take it from the elevators to the manufacturing, or by train, mostly by train. Now, I told you in one of the other episodes, I'm kind of a rail fan, train geek. This train is about a mile long, and because I clocked it as I was riding by, and it's so long they had to break it in pieces to let the traffic come through some of the roads that it was crossing, and it's getting grain delivered from this grain elevator that you see come up. I'm pretty sure it's taking on grain to take to General Mills or whoever else is making whatever they're making, cereal, tacos, whatever, the million things that we use grain for. So it's being loaded and probably getting ready to roll out. Like I said, every town in Kansas had a grain elevator, and we saw some really large ones. So it was a long day, but an uneventful day, thank you. And then I waved Tony and Tyrone by so they could get some screen time and, um, you know, a little shine. They led us into Pueblo, Colorado. Longest day yet, 437 miles. And that would have been it, except that's not it, because the Marriott courtyard was really nice to us. Look at the digs they gave us. Didn't have free breakfast, but we did have prime parking, so that's great. Get a chance to stay there again. We absolutely will. And then the 4th of July festivities in Pueblo were really nice. They have a river walk that's nice, and took a stroll down there at right around time of the fireworks. Really nice restaurants and bars and whatnot. Lots of people out, street vendors and whatnot. They had a concert venue set up right there. A nice festival. Probably was going on all day long. I didn't go till after dark. So the band that played, pretty nice band for celebrating the 4th of July. And to top it all off, yes, indeed, there were fireworks, and a lot of them.